Hi, morning, Peter. How are you?
Hi Peter, I'm good, and thank you for having me on your for being here, for interviewing
Uh,
me.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Welcome to the Business Spotlight. So, Peter, can we start to tell me a little about yourself and your business, please?
Yeah, my name is Peter Meehan. I have a business called Big Rock Digital. I started out originally having a computer training company, which I set up in 2002, and we specialize mostly in graphic design and digital marketing training courses. And we did that for quite a while, and then people would just, I suppose, ask me to do the digital marketing for them because we were doing all the courses, and they were taught at a high level. They had to be. People were paying good money to be in a room to listen to myself and the other trainers. So then we started delivering that as an actual service, and we've been doing that for about 10 years now.
And
Okay.
whenever you were growing up, did you envisage that this is what you would end up doing?
No, not really. Actually, I had it in my head I wanted to be an architect. And then when I suppose then as I got up through the ranks in school, I did art and various things. I realized that wasn't really for me. I wanted to be more of a graphic design type person. So I did graphic design, and then I did a master's in 3D and animation. And then I worked in that. And I worked in New York, and I also worked in Sydney. Was away for a couple of years doing that. Came back, and then I decided, I would maybe. I didn't really want to do it anymore as such. I thought the training side was just something I found very interesting, and I decided I would give it a punt, and I did. And yeah, I'm sort of still doing it until
Uh,
someone tells
who,
me to stop.
who would be your ideal customer? Who would be the ideal customer for Big Rock Digital?
I suppose my ideal customer, obviously, yes, you want someone whose budget is very, very important. But really our ideal customer is someone who takes on board the advice we give them. And then when they implement that advice, and then when they start to see the benefits. And I'll give you an example of one. We have a company who sells tuna, really high-end tuna, and it's expensive. We just couldn't sell it online because it's just too dear. And it's very much an emotional purchase. So we encourage like a more of a roundabout strategy where we start to run lots of competitions, and we use our Facebook, Google, TikTok, etc. to drive people to the email list. And everything that's about competitions, get them to the email list, and then remarket to them using email. And that has worked tremendously well. And they listen to us instead of just going, right, it hasn't worked, see you later. That they took our advice and stuck with us now as paying dividends. So yeah, our ideal customer is someone who essentially will take on board our advice and implement it.
Yeah, that's interesting. It reminds me, I've watched a couple of those programs on TV about where they land the tuna and test it. And yeah, I'd create big bucks, pay big bucks for
Oh,
tuna.
it's not fantastic stuff. My goodness, they really are. Their stuff is amazing.
And what would you say, Peter, has been your biggest learning since being a business owner?
Um, my biggest learning is about time management. It has to be where you can waste hours of time on needless tasks. And that's why I try to be, it's the one thing I suppose I try to guard the most. And I try to plan. If I'd say to anyone, plan your day, know exactly what you're going to do tomorrow and next week. Know what you're going to do, plan, and then track your planning and make sure you've achieved your goals. And it's something I suffer with, but yeah, that's what I would tell people.
And who's the first person, Peter, that springs to mind when you think about the word success?
For me, it would have to be someone like Bill Gates. Would have to be what that guy's achieved. Yeah.
Yeah, good example. Good example. And yeah, and I remember working in Dixon's Electrical back in the day, and I
Oh
remember the
yeah, yeah.
excitement when the new Microsoft came out. Yeah, fantastic.
I know. Actually, as a graphic designer, I everything was Apple. Everything was Apple. and now we have actually reverted right back to Microsoft. They're still, Apple are still amazing pieces of kit, but they just yeah, I think Microsoft just as good and cheaper. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. And
Yeah.
what would you say? What's the biggest challenge that you've faced in your business?
I suppose in a training context, it was getting the high quality trainers. And then I suppose in digital marketing, it's the same. The challenge is getting the right person, you know, to deliver the service. And now we've got I think a really exceptional group. There only is 4 of us in the business, but they're all like, we've been together now a number of years, and they're all exceptional at what they do.
And what inspires you the most today? What gives you the most inspiration today?
I suppose you get in, well, obviously you want to make money, and you want to have a nice standard of living. That inspires me. But we get inspired just by seeing companies succeed. And all our clients, we build out a very complex dashboard for them. Some of them, and we will track. And it's not just like an analytics thing, which is a sea of numbers where you can basically pull the wool over people's eyes. These are rock solid dashboards where we track conversions. Conversions could be how many people filled out a form, how many people emailed you, where did they come from? Did they come from Google, TikTok, Twitter, whatever? We can track that, and we can show people exactly, you know, where your efforts are going and how much success you've achieved from that. But I get a real kick out of just logging in the morning and just looking through everyone's dashboards and just seeing, yeah, okay, really, yeah, that's good. They've got X amount of leads, and we spent this and we did this campaign and this really worked. And whenever there's a monetary value attached to it, you log in and you go, right, we have some clients getting a 30-to-1 return on investment, you know, so every £1 they're getting 30 back. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I got a real kick out of that.
And what would, if it were possible and you could go back and give advice to your 18-year-old self, you know, what would you be saying?
Do you know, Peter, I was going through the questions and I saw that one. And I got a piece of advice when I was 18 and I didn't take it. And I really, really wish I had. And I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted when I was 18, 19. I wasn't really ready for university. And a careers person, and even my mother said to me, take a year out and just sort of find yourself a little bit and then go to university. And oh, no, all my mates are going blah, all that crap. And that is my biggest regret. And I have talked to a couple of young guys who did take a year out, and I said, that is the best thing you could do. Find yourself. Don't just go straight into university, and only do it if you really want to do it, not to just punch in 3 or 4 years. So then you can then decide, oh, crap, now I need to go and get a job and do something. Do something you want to do, especially now that they're paying for it. Unlike us, Peter, we didn't have to pay for our fees.
Absolutely. And what aspects of your business are you most excited about for the remaining 10 months, as it is now, of 2023?
I suppose I'm excited about we're building in some new services. The whole introduction of AI is really interesting. You know, we like where that is potentially going, but at the same time being able to control it. So we're very interested in that. Yeah, we're just excited about growing the business, getting in more clients, and hopefully providing a really solid service to people.
Sounds good. And if somebody likes what they've heard this morning, then Peter, what would be the best way for somebody to reach out and get in touch with Big Rock?
The best way, Peter, would just be to email me. That would be just peter@bigrockdigital.io. So and I have a really cool phone number, mobile, if people want to ring me. And you'll remember it after I tell it to you once. It's 077 40 50 60 85.
Very good. How long have you had that for?
That is the only number I've ever had. So I have put a lot of effort to making sure that I keep that number. And my kids, my son is 8, and they've all known it. They all know it from the very early, even younger. I have drilled them that that if they're ever anywhere, there's ever any problems, ring me. Which I think is really important.
Absolutely. Oh, that's cool. Really like that. Really like that. So
Yeah.
Peter Meehan from Big Rock Digital, thanks very much for sharing your story, both personally and business. And I wish you all the success for the remainder of 2023. Thanks very much.
Okay, and thank you, Peter, for I've watched some of the other interviews, and they're really, really good. And I really like what you're doing, what you're trying to spread the love. You know, it's really, really super.
Excellent. Thanks very much indeed. Cheers, Peter.
Thanks, man.